Hey everyone, it's Marco. In this video, I will share with you an interview I recently made with the CEO of Finbee, a peer-to-peer lending platform that I recently started to invest in. Actually, Finbee was a platform that I heard about a long time ago. It was founded in 2015, but it has been more active recently. That's why I heard back about it and decided to invest on the platform. So I really wanted to get in touch with the platform and the CEO to learn more about it. So without further ado, we'll jump right into the interview with the CEO of Finbee. So again, yes, thank you for coming to this interview. And if you could just introduce yourself and tell us a bit about your company, Finbee.
Okay, so Finbee is a peer-to-peer lending platform for consumers and SMEs. We launched in Lithuania in 2015, so it's nearly 10 years in the market. We operate in Lithuania only, which is quite an extraordinary market where we have, I would say, nearly perfect data quality for credit underwriting. Interest rates are quite high due to big bank concentration, and creditors protection works quite well as well. So we end up having quite a good collection results. So this creates an opportunity for investors to earn double-digit returns without taking too much risks. Regarding myself, so I'm a co-founder and CEO of Finbee. Before Finbee, I worked at Scandinavian banks for 8 years. My previous experience was in credit risk and financial analysis space. So after banking, I decided to leverage my banking experience and created Finbee as a company. So I'm with Finbee since the first day, so it's 9 years now. I started as a chief operating officer in the very beginning. My main responsibilities used to be credit risks, IT, financial management, and operations. And in October 2019, after my former partner left Finbee, I took over as a CEO and have been successfully running the company since then. So to give some numbers, when I started as a CEO of Finbee, we're originating around 11 million in 2019. Last year we originated 52 million euros. And the team grew from around 25 people in 2019 to around 54, what we have today.
Yeah, great. I mean, I was about to say, because I actually first heard about Finbee, like a long time ago, actually, when I started my journey in peer-to-peer lending. So I think you are doing something good, because I recently heard about it more and more. Because you're quite an old company already, right? So yeah, definitely I do see the growth recently. So a question I wanted to ask to get started is, as you know, there are a lot of platforms out there, a lot of peer-to-peer lending platforms. What makes Finbee different from the other platforms out there?
I would emphasize on three main differences. One is that we are fully regulated peer-to-peer lending platform since day one. So at the moment we have three licenses, which is peer-to-peer consumer lending license. Then we have a crowdfunding license for what enables us to do SME lending. And to facilitate the payments, we also have an electronic money institution license. So our business is fully regulated. So it kind of creates a safe environment for investors to invest. Another thing is that it would be, I would say, market specifics. But as I mentioned, we operate in a market with relatively high interest rates, but due to good credit protection, the performance of our portfolio is quite good because we have good collections, good data quality. So the market it's small, Lithuania as a market, but it's quite a good one. And the last thing I would say that we have a track record for many years now. It's nearly a decade in the market, and so we not only created and managed to sustain the good quality loans portfolio, but also as a business, we operate profitably since 2018. So we are quite strong as a company as well, which is kind of, as far as I know, quite a rare thing in a fintech space in many cases.
Okay, yeah, awesome. Thank you for those answers. My next question is more about peer-to-peer lending in general and why it's interesting for investors. So, as you know, there's also a lot of different ways to invest at the moment. People can invest in real estate, they can invest on the stock market, they can leave money at the bank, right? Which is probably not a good choice. And also the economy, as you just mentioned, changed a lot. We are at quite a high interest rate state at the moment. So what do you think, given all that, that peer-to-peer lending is better or at least different than other assets out there?
So regarding our own performance, what I see and what our historical numbers shows that in Finbee case, peer-to-peer lending generates quite high returns, which are still probably higher than the long-term stock returns. And the risk, I would say, is quite low because in general, with the peer-to-peer lending, the risk of like portfolio price or stock price fluctuations are, I would say, non-existent. So if you invest money, you just can earn quite stable and relatively high returns. So compared to other asset classes, you can have risk here. Also, peer-to-peer enables to start with very small amounts. So in our case, you can start investing from €5, which is a very low entry barrier for any investors. What else peer-to-peer lending has? So probably in many cases, in our case as well, you receive interest on monthly basis. So you can reinvest very easily, which means that you can maximize compounded interest effect on a long term. So I think this is, on a short term, it's not like a big advantage, but if you invest for a decade, 2 decades, 3 or whatever, so you can have a huge effect here, which is kind of limited in some other cases. So yeah, regarding the state of economy, so I checked some numbers before the interview. So the Lithuanian economy is doing pretty well. We still have quite low unemployment rate. Salaries are still growing quite steadily. Inflation currently is close to zero. So we outlived that high inflation wave already. So we don't see any changes in the portfolio, and people are, because of the salary growth and low unemployment rate, people still have income are growing, inflation has stopped. So I think it's quite a good market situation here in Lithuania.
I now want to go more to a question that came directly from my audience. So you already touched a bit about this in your initial answer, but I want to go more about the topic of regulation in the peer-to-peer lending space. So you already said that you have 3 licenses, right, that you mentioned. So I think the question of people are more like regarding this European crowdfunding provider license or other regulation, by the way. So what are the plans of Finbee in this space? Do you plan to get this license, or the license that you already have are enough?
Actually, we already have this license, European one. Yes, so regarding the regulation itself, so crowdfunding license regulates only a part of our business. It only regulates SME lending business. So the license that we had before, it was a national one. We had a crowdfunding law in Lithuania since 2017, if I remember correctly. That's when we started the business. So European crowdfunding regulation isn't actually much different from the one we used to have. So that move from national regulation to European one wasn't something very complicated for us. We had to create there are some like standard statistics page, some more questionnaires regarding the risk. But in general, the rules are very, very similar to what we used to have. So in our case, this regulation, we have it already, and it hasn't changed our operations much, actually.
Great, thank you for this answer. So now I want to talk a bit more about the future. And starting with the field of peer-to-peer lending in general. So we already mentioned that there are currently, for example, higher interest, but can you tell us what you think of the field going forward? So for example, about returns for investors, about the safety of the investors' funds, maybe about also number of platforms. Do you see there will be more platforms in the future? There will be less larger platforms. So anything you can see about the future of the field?
So as probably you know, and many people who are interested in peer-to-peer lending knows that, for example, in United States and the UK, the largest platforms are transforming or acquiring banks. Because in general, as you see, peer-to-peer lending, it's just how I see it, it's only like a mechanism to raise funds. So you can be alternative lender, raise funds via some bonds, working with institutional investors, banks, or you can raise funds via peer-to-peer. Or you can be a bank and fund your loan book by attracting deposits. So for the largest players, I think it makes sense to convert into banks because, well, it's kind of not a secret that the cheapest funding is deposits. Just in order to make this work, you need to have kind of big scale of lending to overcome the costs of running the bank. So saw that in US and the UK. In Lithuania, I'm not sure if that's a feasible business model because in Lithuania the market is small, and to reach the scale for a bank to support itself, I think it might be complicated thing to do. But what I think will happen, and it's already happened, and it's from our own history, that I think for a platform it's good to have diversified funding sources. So not rely only on retail funding, but have institutional funding as well, because that enables to grow loan book more faster. So I think this might happen in the Lithuanian market in the future for more platforms. There are some different like funding models or investment product models like Bondora's Go and Grow, for example, where it's still a peer-to-peer lending, but investors can't choose where to invest, in which loans to invest directly. You're just investing in the pool of funds. It's easy. It generates interest from day one. It's quite, I think from investors' perspective, it's just a great instrument to do. But the interest rates and investment returns are quite low there. So, but I think we might see these products in the Lithuanian market. The only problem I see is regulation. I'm not sure if it's possible to do the same as Bondora did in Estonia. Regarding the regulation, it might be complicated, but maybe we'll see that in the future. So regarding security of investors' funds, it's already sold in Lithuanian market. So I'm not sure, I'm not an expert in other markets regulation, but in Lithuania, what we have. So in Lithuania, peer-to-peer lending platforms or crowdfunding platforms cannot basically touch investors' money. So there are two business models how platforms operate. So some platforms uses a third party like a payment provider as a service. So just for investors, what that means that if you want to invest in a certain platform, you need to open some sort of account in their partner with the electronic money institution license in most cases. And then there is another model which we chose to do, to have like a better user experience for our clients. So we have a license ourselves. This enables us to provide payment service. So I don't think it will change in the future. Maybe there will be some changes from European Union that will enable platforms to provide payment services in this limited scope of peer-to-peer lending only. But we'll see. So this will not increase the security. It will probably decrease the security. So in our case, I think it's, from investors' perspective, it's the best and the most secure way that you have your money in a regulated electronic money institution, and then you invest in a regulated peer-to-peer or crowdfunding lending platforms.
Yeah, I think that's what important. The last thing you mentioned about the payment provider. So on your platforms, you are providing the service basically, right? Yeah. Because I know that sometimes my audience have some issues with some payment providers that they actually want to invest in some platform, but the payment provider asks them for, like for example, many ID documents and they are rejected, and then the platforms can't really directly interfere on that. So yeah, I think it's great that you have your own service to do that, right?
Yeah, so basically we decided to go this way because, as I mentioned, it's a better user experience for our clients. So when you approach us, there are different companies behind that, but still there is like a single onboarding procedure, single AML procedure, KYC procedure, so you don't have to go through different companies or platforms to provide different data. So in our case, it's just Finbee.
So my next question is also about the future, but more about the future of your company. So is there any plans you can share for Finbee that will come in the coming years? So for example, more features, more mobile app, for example, anything you could actually share with us today?
Yes, so I would like to talk about the plans regarding with two things. One is what users don't see. So it comes mostly from regulation and compliance space. So we are investing quite a lot and developing some features that are not visible. They create a security for our clients, but they don't see that part. So it's some projects regarding compliance, personal data security, cyber security, reporting, which is required by the law in order for us to comply with the local regulation. So this takes quite a big part of our development team resources to do that. And the other thing is which people and our clients can see. So we still have quite a few manual processes in investor onboarding. So what we want to improve and to automate for our clients to be able to onboard easily and faster. So we plan to invest in this part. Then we also, as we're in the market for quite a long time, we see that the platform database is growing, the data size is growing. So we see that there are some performance issues for a certain size of investors where the platform starts loading slower. There are some places of the platform that are getting slow with time. So we plan to invest in that part to improve performance and improve UX for investors. Regarding the borrowers part, last year we invested quite a lot in automation. So we introduced fully automated loans via partners, via our own website. So our aim was to create an option for borrowers to get the loan offer instantly. So we managed to do that for some certain clients, which has income in databases, liabilities in databases. They go through all the credit risk process. So this automated part, we plan to improve that as well. We also just launched a referral program, which we didn't have for investors. So that will be we won't introduce some absolutely new products or some product areas, but we plan to improve our existing processes to make investing and borrowing easy and more convenient.
Awesome, that's already a lot for sure. So now a question that I actually ask to every platform. Let's imagine there is somebody that is listening to this or watching this on YouTube, and they are brand new to the field of peer-to-peer lending. And so what would be the advice you could give to that person?
So I would say the first thing should be to do some sort of due diligence regarding the platform, because I think the major risk which can create sizable losses if you get caught in a fraud case. We had a few cases in Europe. I heard that there were quite more in Asia and China, where, as far as I know, peer-to-peer lending was banned in general because there were a lot of fraud cases. So I think if you decide to invest in some platform, just do your homework. Google about the platform, try to find out about the regulation, in which market it operates, if the platform is legal there, what's behind the platform, if there is a team, there is a CEO, check their LinkedIn profile, see if those people are real, if they are not hiding. So that's the first thing, to avoid these basically major losses, which is basically stealing your money. So if you don't see any red flags, then regarding investments in peer-to-peer lending, I think, well, me personally, I don't believe in how I would call an active management of portfolio. So I think peer-to-peer lending platform is doing quite a lot of work. The platform itself has way more data than investors see. So we know in our case, for example, we know the client's identity, the first thing. We know where he's working. We know where he lives, his official address. We even get his photo from population register of Lithuania. So we have quite a lot of data. So we can make, I think, better decisions of which loan requests can be approved. And if we approve a loan request for investments, we believe that we can collect that loan. So I think for an investor, the best way to invest in peer-to-peer lending is just create like auto-lend portfolio, automate your investments, automate your payments, and forget about it for like 10 years, then get back, see how your portfolio is performing. So I'm just joking. You need to check your investments. But in general, I think it's peer-to-peer lending. I think it's a great way to invest passively, to invest on like monthly basis, and just to wait for that compounding interest effect to kick in after 10, 20 years. So that would be my advice. And also diversification, which is probably the key thing in peer-to-peer lending. You need to divide your investments in low, small pieces. There are risks in that as well if you try to divide too much. So it can be impossible for you to invest your funds. If you like investing 10K and try to invest €5 per person per loan request, so it might be impossible to do. So don't do this mistake, but don't invest in like 2 projects or 3 projects. Invest in 10, 100, 200.
Yeah, and also it's very easy to do, right, on your platform or other platforms to diversify in hundreds of projects, right? Yeah. So thank you for all that answers. I'm sure people will find it very interesting. So imagine let's imagine somebody wants to now learn more about your company, your platform. What are the best ways to get started with Finbee?
So the best way would be to visit our website, finbee.com. There we have quite a lot of data, which is part of the data is public. So you can see our public quarterly reports about our performance, our portfolio performance, consumer loans, SMEs loans, our plans, our financial results. Then for registered investors, there is an option to download our loan book, which includes data about all loans originated in Finbee since day one. So this is, well, it's public, but for registered investors only. So you can download Excel spreadsheet. Also, you can download all the Excel spreadsheet with all payments of all loans originated on the platform. So if you want to dig into details, to dig into data, and to do your own analysis on our portfolio, so you can do that. So probably that's the best source of information.
Great, awesome. And I will of course put the links to your website and also to any social media that you have just below the video and also on the podcast.
Perfect.
Awesome. Thank you again so much for coming to the interview, and have a good day.
Thank you for the opportunity.
Alright, that's already the end of this interview. I really hope that you enjoyed it. As usual, I will put all the links that I mentioned in the video just below the video or in the podcast show notes if you are listening to the audio version of this, so you can actually go to the website of Finbee, discover the platform by yourself. So again, thank you for listening. I really hope that this was useful for you, and I will see you in the next video.